Hit music.
Your radio, your station. Playing hits 24 hours a day.
This is my station.
Transradio.co.uk. You're listening to DJ Lucy London. Find her on Twitter and Instagram at DJ Lucy London. This is transradio.co.uk.
We're here today to discuss London Pride. On Saturday, whilst I was getting ready to go out, Pink News appeared on my Facebook. They were live at London Pride. Obviously, I decided to tune in. What happened next sickened and saddened me to the extreme. A group calling themselves Get the Hell Out of Pride somehow managed to get to the front of the parade and were allowed to lead the parade out, handing out transphobic leaflets, insinuating that trans people are rapists. The video posted by Pink News saw over 1,100 angry emojis and over 100 sad faces. It did receive 100 likes, but we are sure that some people hit the button without actually realising the events that they were watching, just thinking that it was London Pride. We here believe that the protesters should have been removed and not be allowed to march. Today we answer questions as to why they were allowed, and we get views from the people that were affected and the people that were involved, including London Pride. We've also got the editor of Diva Magazine coming along, as well as people from Trans Pride, trans people from South London. We've got Aimee Challenor, who has started a petition. From the Green Party, we have Joanne Lockwood joining us from Sea Change Happen. We have Kellie Maloney and we have Frank Williams. To name but a few. The chanting that was clearly heard should have seen them arrested. We have asked the police to come and join us today. They have refused. They have given us a statement. We will play that statement to you shortly. So, we're not happy about this. We are going to deal with this. And today, on Trans Radio, you'll be able to hear from the people that were there and the people that this affected.
Hit music.
Your radio, your station. Playing hits 24 hours a day.
This is my station.
Transradio.co.uk.
Stop rape culture against lesbians! Stop rape culture against lesbians! Stop rape culture against lesbians! Stop the erasure of lesbians! I'm a transphobic scum.
Just before that, you would have heard a few audio clips that we managed to pick up from the event on Saturday with the protesters. As explained, we've read my little bit before. Now we're going to hear from some people that were there and people that matter, and it gives me great delight, and I'm really pleased that she's going to come on to speak to us. And we do have Polly Shute, who's a strategic partnership director for London Pride. So hi Polly, thank you so much for coming on and speaking to us today.
I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, right. So we just had a little chat, and as I say, we really appreciate you coming on, because I think it is important that we do hear from somebody from London Pride, and you're the one that said you're going to come and speak to us, which is really great, and we're really happy about. So we've got a few questions that we'd like to ask you, just to try and kind of put this to bed. Sure. And give London Pride a chance to sort of, let us know from your side what actually happened. So the first one is, we'd like to know, was London Pride aware that there was a protest planned for Saturday?
Well, can I start before I answer that question? I would just like to start by reiterating, on my behalf, but also on behalf of the board, how sorry we are for our trans siblings and allies, and how they've been impacted by this, and that, I want to make it absolutely clear before I answer these questions that Pride in London rejects that this group you got me. So I just wanted to state that. I just wanted to make clear that, we are really sorry for this, and we absolutely reject what this group stands for. In terms of how it happened and whether we were aware, we did receive some intelligence a few weeks ago about a group, but we receive intelligence about a load of groups. And what we do, Lucy, is every time before Pride, we work very closely with GLA and other major authorities, the police and everybody else, to do exercises and scenario plan what might happen. So everything from sort of terrorism attacks to people kind of protesting in the parade. And I think it's clear to say we've had protests for the last 3 years, so this isn't something that's new to us, and we do have a protocol that we follow. So I guess in terms of what happened, well, our parade route is 1.3 miles long. It has various crossing points along it, and it's pretty much virtually impossible to stop protesters coming through. So what happened is the women were very determined.
You again. Hang on, Polly, if you are there, we have lost you again. I'm not quite sure exactly what's happening here, but we have lost you from the system. Hello? Yep, no, can hear you again now. Right,
okay,
cool,
sorry.
Cool.
So, sorry about that. Don't know what's happening with the connection, but what happened is these women came through the barriers. They tried initially to stand on the flags and insisted that they wouldn't leave the long flag. So as you probably know, we have flag bearers and we walk with a massive rainbow flag. We were successful in moving them away from the flag, so we kind of formed arms, because I was actually there, and separated the group and moved them away from the flag and moved them on. But what we weren't successful at doing, I'm afraid, was taking them out of the parade. So we did have long conversations with them. We made sure it was the women of Pride, and myself and 3 other board directors went to talk with them to try and convince them to leave the parade. We took the leaflets that they give us and checked in with the police and the authorities, and they knew exactly what they were doing, so they were pretty much just on side of the law. So it wasn't an option, I'm afraid. I know a lot of people are angry about this, and I completely understand their anger, but it wasn't an option to just throw them out. And we've got police statements on our website that confirm that because they weren't breaking the law, and because it was what is known as a peaceful protest, our best opportunity was to try and convince them to leave. Once we couldn't convince them to leave, and it became clear we couldn't, what we did was exactly what we did last year when we had protesters, is that we pushed them to walk ahead of us, so that they were, although they were walking down the route, they weren't part of the parade, and they were distanced from us. And that was exactly what we planned in our scenarios, and exactly what we did last year when we had protesters. So these 8 women walked ahead of us, and then once they were safely ahead of us, we started the parade with the mayor and the flag behind us. So that is pretty much exactly what happened on the day.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I sort of look at other events, and if people are there protesting and doing this, they're not allowed to stay. I think it does state on your website, everyone that's in the parade has to be vetted to actually be allowed to get there. And I realise that there was the protocol from what you've done in previous years, but I just feel that the protest last year meant a lot to the people that obviously protested last year. However, I think the one this year was more relevant, and in the fact that it was to do with the community. And I'm pretty sure that if it happens at other establishments, and other prides have come out and said that they will remove people that protest, that have not been vetted, have not been confirmed that they're actually part of the parade. So for us, I mean, personally, I'm confused as to why they was allowed to stay. I appreciate what you've just said there. With the police, I mean, we look at the video footage. There's barely a police officer in sight. Was the issue discussed with the police?
If I can just come in there, because I was actually there, completely understanding to watch the video footage. Those women were very clever at editing their video. There were lots of police around. There always are lots of police around, and we were in constant conversation with the police. So I do want to say I completely understand your concerns, and believe me, I'm as sickened by this group as anyone. We did confer with the police. No point was anyone in any danger. We had the police alongside us all the way. You may not have seen them in the video, but there were certainly police at the start of the route, and there were police very carefully watching these women. So I do want to be really clear that at all times at Pride, we are focused on the safety of the public and also the safety of the people that parade with us, and that was paramount to us. And that's why we moved them away from the flag bearers, who were very disturbed. You know, the flag bearers, like us, the volunteers, were very disturbed by what they were doing, and our paramount focus was to move them away from the flag bearers and from the rest of the parade.
Right, okay, so I mean, we do have a statement from the police. It's literally come through sort of minutes ago, so I've not actually had a chance. The first time I will read it is when I read it live out on air today. But for me, I mean, I look at, you know, I'm not into law, but I know, you know, Section 5, the public order offence, causing an obstruction. They caused an obstruction. There's 30,000 people behind them. I know if you go to a sports arena, for say, where there's a concert or, you know, a sporting event, and if there's 30,000 people coming out of Wembley and people were lying down blocking them, they would be removed, you know.
But then they moved on. I mean, I mean, as I said, I'm not. Hindsight's a great thing, and we will look back at all our processes, but I just want to stress that we followed the same protocol we followed in the last 2 years, which we go through in detail, which is if there is a protest group and they are not breaking the law, then we will try to remove them and try and encourage them to leave. But if we don't, we will move them on and move them in front of the parade, so that they're not part of the parade, and that's exactly what I did. And Lucy, I just want to be really clear. I'm, you know, again, I can't reiterate how upset I am about this, and how upset the rest of the board are about this. We've got lots of, you know, trans allies, trans groups that we work with, and the last thing we ever wanted to do was to make that community feel upset, to make them feel threatened, or to make them feel marginalised. And I'm devastated that the actions of these 8 women did that in any way or any shape or form. Absolutely devastated.
No, I get that, and we can hear the sincerity in your voice. And you know, I've been looking at, obviously, at the Twitter feeds and stuff like that over the last few days, and I can understand how everyone does seem, you know, genuinely devastated about it, and I totally get that, you know, with all the hard work and what have you not that you've put in the last year to do this event. I just feel, you know, personally, as a transgender person, that it's, you know, it's detracted from what Pride should be. It's, to me, I know, you know, that you've had the poll, is it a protest, is it a celebration? For me, I think now, in this day and age, it's a celebration. That's my personal view, and I think that actually was the higher mark on your vote. And I just feel that, you know, that these 8 people are completely detracted from that. We're talking about them, we're not talking about how good the Pride was for the rest. You know, the fact that there was no arrests throughout the rest of the Pride, as far as I'm aware, and it's just, you know, what measures are going to be taken to make sure that something like this does not happen again? Obviously, if it's happened last year, it's happened this year. Is it kind of an open thing that anyone can turn up and protest, and there'll be, you know, we got measures to be in the march.
I mean, it is a really difficult situation, but we will be sitting down with GLA, with the police, with all the other authorities to review our processes and look at what we can do. What we don't want, and what we definitely don't want, is 10-foot tall barriers. That's the last thing we want, where people, you know, one of the great things about the parade is that people can run along and shake hands and interact with the crowd. So we have to find a safe way of allowing that to happen, whilst minimising the opportunity for people like these women to come along and disrupt what otherwise was, you know, all the other publicity. And I think you're completely right. Yes, there's been some great publicity. There's been some great feedback from charities, from community groups who use Pride as a platform to, as you say, celebrate or campaign. And we've had amazing feedback from groups this year about it being the most diverse and inclusive Pride ever, about them feeling confident, about them feeling safe. And you're absolutely right. The last thing we would have ever wanted was for a small group of 8 women to detract from that. And we will absolutely be making sure that we work with the authorities to stop that happening. But let's not let that take away from what was one of the biggest Pride in London ever, from a Pride that had almost sort of 57% of the groups that took part were community groups, where we saw diversity in its full colours, groups from every part of the LGBT spectrum take part. And the posts that I've seen on social media have been, the majority of them have been about people enjoying the day, celebrating the day, feeling blessed to be able to come together with friends, colleagues, and loved ones. And that's what I think I want people to remember Pride for, but also to know that we will absolutely take these concerns seriously, and we will be looking at them for 2019 and other events that we run throughout the year.
No, okay, yeah, totally get that, and hopefully it is. I mean, as you see, there was footage that the protesters have put out there as well from their point of view. It looked so easy for them to get on, so I hope for everyone's sake in the future, not just my community of transgender people, but that whatever people want to protest about, that the police and everyone gets together, and it just looks so easy for them to get through. So I just really hope that moving on, you've got the footage there, which will obviously help you moving on, and let's get Pride back to, like you said, the rest of it was absolutely fabulous, and I'm sure it was. To be honest with you, my crux has been looking at the horrible part of it rather than the fabulous part. Instead of I was away for the Sparkle weekend, which unfortunately falls on the same weekend as Pride, and because I was doing some bits and bobs up there.
We need to sort that out next year, don't we?
Oh, definitely, yes, definitely, we do. So unfortunately, I was there, but as I say, I was watching the footage, and instead of me coming back and watching all the glorious footage of the the fabulous stuff that was going on, my time's been spent looking at all the horrible stuff, which has been heartbreaking to watch, and I'm sure it's been heartbreaking for you.
Yeah, definitely. Heartbreaking for us, heartbreaking for 1,000 volunteers who made the day happen. But as I said, let's leave. Let's not let these 8 women detract from what was an inclusive, and a Pride that was enjoyed by the majority of people who was there. Let's not let these 8 women win, and let's use this as an opportunity for the community to come together and support our trans siblings, and show that that the L absolutely belongs in LGBT, and that's kind of where I would want to leave it. And I'm a big believer of that, and I know that the rest of the board are, and that's what we want to come out of there. That we won't let 8 women wreck what was an amazing event, and an annual event that lets the LGBT community feel safe, and feel that London supports them.
No, fabulous. Right. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate your sincerity. I appreciate the work that all the volunteers have done, giving up their time, not only to organise the event on the day. I'm glad that we've given you the platform as well to put your point across.
No, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
I know you've been on other shows and stuff, but I think it's our station. Obviously, it's our community that was affected by it. I think so. As well as other communities, obviously with the get the hell out. But some of the things. I think we just want to put this to bed. So I think it's why we've got the show today. I think it was very important. We got someone from London Pride on. You've done that. It's been absolutely amazing to speak to you, and good luck with all the preparations for next year. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, and please invite us back again. We'd love to come back on again and speak with you, Lucy. Thank you.
Yeah, no, we will do 100%.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Polly. Thanks so much for your time, and we will speak again soon, hopefully.
Thanks very much. Okay, bye-bye.
Cheers. Okay, there we go. Polly Shute from London Pride, putting the point across from the London Pride Committee. She's one of the committee members, was heavily involved with the organising, which, let's not detract from it, does take an awful lot, and putting the event on. I think very sincere. We got lots of other guests coming up. We have Carrie coming up shortly from Diva Magazine. Obviously, the other group that they sort of these protesters attacked. So we're going to have a little chat with Carrie, get their point of view from the Diva Magazine, and then we'll move on. We've got lots of other guests. We do have the statement from the police. I will reiterate, we have contacted the protesters, not only by their personal Twitter accounts, but also the horrible leaflet that they was handing out had an email address. So we've emailed them. We've emailed them not once, but we've emailed them twice, asking them to come on so we could have a chat with them. We've had no response and no reply from them, so obviously don't want to come and talk to us. But stay tuned, we are going to have some more guests up just after this.
Tune in via transradio.co.uk. We are also on TuneIn and Alexa at Trans Radio UK. Get social with us at Trans Radio UK on Twitter and Facebook.
Okay, there we go, a little break with a little song, and we've now got Sarah Savage. Now, Sarah is part of the Trans Pride Committee. I believe she's one of the trustees. She's going to come and join us just to, have a little chat. Obviously, we've got Trans Pride coming up shortly as well, which will be another amazing event. So, yeah, hi, Sarah.
Hiya, how's it going?
Yeah, very well. How are you?
I'm brilliant, thanks.
Good,
Busy.
good. Are you looking forward to the event? I suppose we're sort of well into the preparations now, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it this year. It's going to be so bigger than last year. We've got events happening all over the city for the whole weekend, for the whole week. It's really exciting this year. I think we've outdone ourselves.
Oh, fab. Well, as you know, we'll be there. We'll be doing some broadcast stuff, which we're really looking forward to. Looking forward to seeing lots of friends and hopefully making lots of new ones as well. Right, obviously the reason for the show, we all saw what happened on Saturday. I've made my point of view about my personal thoughts. So we'd like to know, what did you guys think of the protest? What do you think should have been done, if anything? So yeah, over to you.
We really think that it was disgusting how it was allowed to happen. Did you see them stamping all over the rainbow flag right at the start of the parade?
I did. Just disgusting.
Yeah, it just showed absolutely no respect for the shared struggles that we've had over the last 30, 40 years. And getting the L out of the T. I think the important thing to focus on was that it was like 8 people out of 30,000. It shows that although there are people who are completely filled with hate, that they are very, very outnumbered.
Oh yes, no. I think the actual, there was 30,000 in the parade, but I think the actual figure that they quote was about 1 million people would actually attended the whole event. And yeah, 8 is nothing. It's a couple of pennies in your pocket, isn't it? For
It is, yeah.
But they did make a bit of an impact, and hence we wouldn't be having this show today if they hadn't. So yeah, no.
Yeah, it was interesting to see how differently the homophobic protest was handled. It was corralled into a portion away from everybody. And then the transphobic protest was allowed to happen. I think it just shows a lack of being prepared on the part of London Pride, because they knew that something might happen. They must have a large risk assessment team, and they must have had a plan to should anyone try and hijack the parade. They must have had a plan to neutralise that peacefully.
Yeah, I don't know if you just heard Polly, who was on. She sort of explained, they were aware that there was some particular groups that were potentially going to be coming down to try and cause disruption. And as I just said to her, I think the way that how easy it was, it looked like a 2-year-old could have got through and got out there. If it was so easy. It was quite worrying, really. So I've explained my views to Polly. I think Polly was a fabulous guest and really sort of explained London's Pride's position, for which we respect, and I'm glad I've spoken to her. But yeah. I mean, being an organizer of any event is so nerve-wracking. But if something goes wrong, you try and plan, and it's all done in the best possible intentions, But sometimes we can all do better, we're all human, but it just seems that it was the anti-trans threat was underestimated again, Yeah, no, totally. So I've got to ask, obviously, Trans Pride is coming up, so have you got plans in place to stop this kind of thing happening at Trans Pride?
We do. I can't really say too much because we don't want to let anyone know of our tactics, but that we've had some very, very creative solutions come up. Some really amazing people, cisgender and trans, in the city have come together and have been brainstorming some really creative ideas to peacefully neutralise any threat from any anti-trans protesters.
Right.
I really, really have faith in them. We've put a lot of thought into this. We've met with the police and the local council. We've met with wider LGBT organisations. There's been a lot of work going on behind the scenes to make sure that all of our guests are completely safe and secure.
Right, that's fabulous to hear, because obviously, obviously people, I'm sure, are going to be, will anything happen?
I can understand being worried, yeah.
To hear that, obviously, at the end of the day, it's a very small minority that we're at London Pride, but it's good and reassuring to hear that, you've had these discussions with the relevant people and you have plans in place. Now, I know that we are going to be having a chat with you guys about Trans Pride next week, when I think we've got a few of the committee coming on to have a chat to tell us all about it. But for those listening today, you got 30 seconds. Give us a blast of what's going to be happening at Trans Pride on the 21st.
On the 21st, we're going to be meeting at the Marlborough Pub at 11:30. There'll be about 3,000 trans, non-binary and cisgender allies people there. We're going to march to Brunswick Park for 1 o'clock, where there will be opening speeches. We've got bands in the park. There's food stalls. There's cutie pock workshops. There are community stalls selling things and also advertising their services. It's very community led. Nothing about us without us is one of the key slogans for this year. We only allow trans people to lead. It's time to put the T first.
Okay, fabulous. Well, as you know, I'll be there. Looking forward to the show where we'll go into Trans Pride in a lot more detail next Monday night. I believe we've got that scheduled for. So hopefully you'll be with us on that to have a little chat, and we can go into full detail of absolutely everything that's going on. Really looking forward to it. Just leaves me to say thank you so much for coming on, giving us Trans Pride's thoughts on the event of what happened on Saturday. I think it was important someone from your committee come along, so thank you so much for giving up a bit of your time this afternoon so we can have a chat and hear your guys' views, and obviously put everyone's mind at rest that plans are in place to make sure that this doesn't happen at Trans Pride, which is coming up.
Well, thanks for having us.
No worries. Okay, Sarah, I shall speak to you soon.
Well, bye-bye.
Okay, take care now. See ya. Bye-bye.
You're listening to DJ Lucy London. Find her on Twitter and Instagram at DJ Lucy London. Call, message or WhatsApp us on 07305 151189. This is transradio.co.uk.
Hello for you. That gives me great pleasure. I've got my next guest lined up to come and have a chat with us. We have Carrie Lyell. Carrie, beg your pardon, oh gosh. Carrie Lyell, and Carrie is the editor of Diva Magazine, which is Europe's largest magazine for lesbian and bi women. So, hi Carrie, thanks for giving up your time to come and have a chat with us today.
Hiya, thanks for having me.
No, I really appreciate you coming on. It's good to get a lot of different perspectives of the events of Saturday. I think it was important that we got somebody from your communities, because obviously we've got the Get the Hell Out protest that was going on as well, that was part of it. So I think it's important that we spoke to somebody and you're fabulous. We're really delighted to have you on. So
thank you.
I'd like to ask you first up, the question I'm going to be asking pretty much every guest today. What are your thoughts on a group that hijacked the Pride on Saturday?
Well, as a cis lesbian, I'm embarrassed and I'm ashamed by the women who were at the front of the protest, and I want to say that they do not speak for me, they do not speak for Diva, and they do not speak for the vast majority of our community. As I said in a statement on Monday, I'm so disappointed that a fantastic day of joy and celebration was hijacked by these 8 women, hell-bent on spreading hate. And I don't agree with anything that they stand for. And I want to show support and solidarity with the trans siblings and say that the most cis lesbian and bi women that I know that are in our community don't feel the way that they do, and that they don't speak for us.
Well, that's fabulous. And as a transgender person, that's generally, I've got to be honest, pretty much, when I go out and we go out to events or go out generally anywhere in life, and I get on fabulous. There's not this animosity that we actually saw from this group of 8 women on Saturday. Now, I'm presuming that you saw the contents of the leaflet that they handed out. What did you think of the contents that was handed out? The content of that leaflet?
It's all just fantasy, really. I completely agree with you when I say, I have trans friends, I have, lots of trans people in my life. I see cis lesbians, trans lesbians out on the scene, getting along fine together in relationships with each other. And there's just not this animosity that they want to portray that there is. It's like they're living in some sort of dystopian reality. It just is not there, and I really wish that we could change this narrative and see that we've been living side by side for years and years and years without any problems. So all of these sort of catastrophes that they're imagining is just not real.
Right. And do you think that they should have been stopped from going on the parade, stopped from handing out leaflets?
I mean, it's really difficult. Obviously, you have to balance the rights of free speech with protecting the community. But I do think they should have been stopped. And I have some sympathies for Pride in London. I think they were in a really, really difficult situation, and they acted within the guidelines that they'd been given from the police and from the GLA and so on. But I do think that they need to learn some lessons from this, and from the conversations I've had with Pride organisers, that's what they will be doing, asking themselves some serious questions about why this was allowed to happen, how it was dealt with, and perhaps going forward they need to have greater support from people like the Met Police, so that they know exactly what they can do and should do in that situation.
No, I totally agree with you there, and the more I've looked into it, the more I personally think, the police should have stepped up to the plate. That's my personal opinion. I feel that, there's only so much that the organisers and people of London Pride can actually do. But I feel that the police should have stepped up to the plate. As I've said previous on this show, I think it was a Section 5 public order offence, which I will be reading out what a Section 5 public order offence is later for the listeners that are unaware. But I think they ticked every box on that, and personally should have been arrested. And yes, arresting middle-aged women and putting handcuffs on was probably not the the greatest spectacle in the world. But hey, if you're breaking the law, you're breaking the law. It doesn't matter what your age, gender, or race is. I
think a lot of our anger has been directed towards the community. Anger has been directed towards Pride in London. And I think you're right that maybe we should be asking more serious questions of the police, because I think that had those women been not white, had they been a bit younger, had they been trans, I think they would have been arrested. So yes, there's part of me that thinks that's probably what these protesters wanted. They wanted to be dragged off in handcuffs and to draw more attention to their cause. But really, I think there was no other option, and they should have been arrested.
No, I totally agree. So we've got this thing that these women are shouting about to get the L out of LGBT. Plus, obviously there's lots of others. Personally, I think that is just totally and utterly bizarre. But I'd love to hear your views. What are your views on the Get the L Out campaign?
I I mean, to a point, I have some sympathy because I think the L in LGBT is largely silent, is largely erased, but that's where the sympathy stops, because I think that erasure occurs for cis lesbians as it does for trans lesbians, and in fact, to a greater extent for trans lesbians. The way I see it, L and T, we're one and the same. We're part of the same community. My friends, my colleagues, many of these people identify as trans. Many of these people have fought for the rights that I now enjoy. You go back to the Stonewall riots, it was a trans woman who fought to give me the freedoms as a cis woman that I do today. So it's impossible, as far as I'm concerned, to separate the L from the T or L from the LGBT. We're much, much stronger together. And I wish that we could get past this division and see that feminism, lesbian politics could be furthered and enriched by solidarity.
Yeah, no, well, I agree. I think it's important, very important. I think that the L stays in and thrives in the community. I, as I say, I've got some fabulous friends that come under the L umbrella, and I think that it's important that they stay in the community and thrive and keep showing how fabulous a community of people that they are, and together absolutely there's 1 million people there on Saturday. It's a lot of people that are there for me. As explained earlier, I feel it's a celebration. It's not a protest, and it's a celebration that we are here as a community, and we're happy to be here, and hopefully that lots of other people have that view as well, and that's how it should be, in my opinion.
Completely. I mean, I would just add that Diva was on the parade, and we had an absolutely fantastic time. We weren't aware of any protest until afterwards, so no one rained on our parade. These protesters didn't rain that for us. And I'd just like to quickly read out a couple of messages that we got from some volunteers who were with us on the march. One person said it was really wonderful. I was especially proud to walk with a proudly trans-inclusive magazine, given the goings-on at the front of the parade. And someone else said, yes, 100%, 30,000 people marching in support of our trans brothers and sisters were a lot louder than those 8 people.
That's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And, let's everyone get out there and buy your magazine, for sure. I mean, that's it, and it's great to hear that support. As touched on earlier, I think it's crazy, really, because as a transgender person, well, we are getting a lot more. We've always had, I think, personally, generally, a lot of love and support, and I'm seeing friends and what have you not on Twitter and Facebook that are saying, "Oh, hey, we're actually getting even more now." So thanks for that, guys, in a funny, roundabout kind of way. Just coming off the actual parade, and I'd like to touch quickly on this before we finish up. Obviously, we've got the GRC, the changes that proposed to be made, so people like myself can get a gender recognition certificate, recognition even certificate. They're talking about how they're going to make it a little bit easier for us, because it is a real hard process to get this certificate, and in my opinion, nobody's going to do it just so they can, there is nothing wrong. I think if people that are doing it because that's the gender that their head is telling them they are, like myself. But there's quite a big thing, and that was one of the things that was brought up. So I'd like to hear your views. What do you think about the proposed changes to it? Are you for it, against it?
Yeah, I'm very much for it. I mean, I think with things like this, things that largely impact the trans community, it's important for me personally, but also as editor of Diva, to listen to the trans community and listen to what the majority of people are saying. And I think anything that makes that really difficult process easier is, absolutely, it's a thumbs up in my book. And like I said earlier, I think, the reaction to these changes from some of these protesters has been absolutely, it's just fantasy. The things that they think are going to happen are not going to happen. We're not going to have, cis men who are pretending to be women in order to access women's spaces. It just isn't happening. And I think rather than focusing on, like I say, this fantasy, we should really be focusing on who are the perpetrators of violence against women, cis and trans. Who are the people that are committing these acts? And let's try and stop that from happening, rather than focusing on a group of people who pose no threat to us as cis people, absolutely no threat to us at all. We need to be listening and supporting. And like I say, any changes that make life a little bit easier for trans people, I completely support.
Right, that's really good to hear. And I think you've been absolutely a brilliant guest. So pleased that we've got you on. Keep up the fabulous work with your magazine, and long may it live, prosper, and keep thriving. Thank you. Thank you
so much for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you on behalf of the station and all the community for coming on, giving us your point of view today. It's been absolutely fabulous and really great to speak to you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Take care.
Okay, Carrie, thanks a lot. Take care now. See ya.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
There we go, Carrie.
Hit music.
Your radio, your station, playing hits 24 hours a day.
This is my station.
Transradio.co.uk. Get social with us at Transradio UK on Twitter and Facebook.
Carrie Lyell, she's the editor of Diva Magazine, which is a European lesbian and bi magazine. You can go and it's on your shelves, you can get it online, so go find it.
You're listening to DJ Lucy London. Find her on Twitter and Instagram at DJ Lucy London.
I've heard a big chat there mention the police. Now, I have tried to contact the police over the last few days to try and hopefully get somebody to come and have a chat with her so we could ask the questions that we wanted to ask as to, why were these people allowed to do this? Why were they not arrested? 5 people lying down in front of 30,000 people and stopping them, as I said earlier, if they're coming out of a stadium, they would remove them. I've been to Wembley myself, where there's 90,000 people, and they can stop 50,000 people walking down Wembley Way quite easily. So how can they not remove 8 people? That's my opinion. I've asked them, as I said, to come on, and they wouldn't answer any of my tweets. I did actually speak to the press department today and had a chat with them, asking to get somebody on. They refused, but they have sent us a prepared statement. So, first time I'm reading this, so I shall read it out to you. Pride is a unique event celebrating London's diverse communities, and the Metropolitan Police Service has proudly and fully supported it for many years. Every year we work closely with the organisers to develop our policing plan and ensure the event is as safe as possible. On Saturday, the Metropolitan Police Service took part in and policed an operation, allowing people to enjoy a celebratory event. The Met were aware of the demonstration at the front of the parade and were in liaison with the parade organisers. The group at the front of the parade did not commit any criminal offences, and the role of the police to facilitate peaceful protest is to facilitate peaceful protests. The group stayed within the law, and as such, officers did not make any arrests. Now, that's their statement. I'm just going to play you a little clip that I picked up.
I'm a transphobic scum.
So, transphobic scum. I'm a transphobic scum. Was one.
Stop rape culture against lesbians! Stop rape culture against lesbians! Stop rape culture against lesbians! Stop the erasure of lesbians!
Stop rape culture against lesbians. Now, if that's not inciting, then I really do not know what is. Section 5 of the Public Order Act states, a person is guilty of an offence if he or she uses threatening or abusive words or behaviour or disorderly behaviour, or displays any writing, sign or other visible representation which is threatening or abusive within the hearing or sight of a person likely to be caused harassment, alarm or distress thereby. Now if you look at the signs, they come under that. If you listen to them clips that I've just played, they come under that. If you can stomach watching the protesters video that they've posted online, you will see at one point there's a couple of transgender people on the side and they start abusing them and then try to get them arrested when the transgender people sort of make their feelings known. So how they were not arrested and how the police can release that statement, I think personally is abysmal, is a cop-out. I look at the video, I did not see hardly any police around the protesters. I did not see the police speak to the protesters. In fact, I'm just absolutely cannot believe that the police have not done anything or dealt with anything. Anyway, that's me. I'll get off my little soapbox. I'm going to play you a little tune and then we'll be back with our next guest, who was actually in the parade, part of Trans Pride South London, and we'll be back after this.
This is transradio.co.uk.
A song for you, a little break, so you can stop hearing my voice and rambling ons. Right, we've got another guest on the line. It gives me great pleasure to welcome from Trans Pals, Partricia. Now, Partricia was in the actual parade on Saturday. There's some great video footage that she's taken of, you know, the trans flag that was there, which was one of the biggest ever, and you know she was right in the heart of it. So hi Partricia, thanks for coming on and joining us today.
Hi there, Lucy. Thanks for inviting me on the show.
No, you're more than welcome. Thanks for coming. So Saturday, you was there, right in the heart of the parade. First of all, let's get the positives. So I presume you've had a fabulous time, and I take it that you was unaware of the events that was happening up in front of you.
Yeah, that's correct. We had no idea of anything happening while we was in the parade route. We were actually only 9 places behind the front of the parade as well, so we were right at the front. And all I can say is the positive we got from the crowd and the love. As Lucy said, I've done a video, it's out there, and you can hear the love being given to us on the day.
Right, yeah, no, I think we've, you know, anyone wants to come onto our Twitter feed or our Facebook page, they'll be able to see your video, which we put links to. It's well worth watching. It looks absolutely fabulous. So, well, that's good to know that actually on the day that you was unaware of the events that were occurring at the front of the parade. I presume that when you got home or later on during that day that you was made aware of what had actually happened, and you've seen the footage since. You know, what's your views on it?
Yeah, well, we only started to hear about anything once we got to Soho Square, where there was a trans stall there. We didn't really know anymore until we got home, and then saw the disgusted footage that Pink News had posted. I'm very upset with Pink News, the way they've covered it, because it's just caused so much anger in the community. What they did was utterly disgraceful to the lesbian community, and attacking the trans community is even worse. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that they've not only attacked our community, they have attacked, you know, 99.9999% of the lesbian community who don't agree. I mean, the fact that only 8 of them turned up on the day, I think they was putting out that they wanted X, Y, and Z, and they're saying, oh, you know, people were scared now, but it was the same 8 and the same faces that you see rocking up at other events trying to cause disruption, you know, are there again, and I'm sure we'll see them until they get arrested and locked up and thrown away the key. I think they're going to just keep on doing it, which is really sad, because I think they don't represent what Pride is all about, and they definitely don't visit, you know, our last guest, Carrie. You know, she's the editor of a Europe-wide magazine, and you know, I think that you look at Diva, everything that Diva have been saying, you know, they don't represent the majority, and the love and support that we've got.
So, you know, do you think it should have been stopped yourself?
It's a very, for me, doing some of the work I do, I look at something and you've got to think quickly on your feet. And truthfully, I think Pride did what they could do with what regulations they had. I think it needs to be tightened up. That stopped these protesters even coming in, because I've been in 4 years of Pride and we've had demonstrations in them before, but the previous years we've been held up for an hour. But they did clear it quickly for us, so we only had a 5-10 minute wait this year. So I think they're improving on it to stop us, because the very first time in the Pride event we were stuck outside Selfridges, and you think the abuse we got there at a crossing was not nice, and that was 4 years ago for an hour. So in my eyes, they've done better, but there's still a lot more work to do.
Yeah, no, I personally feel that I'd have rather you'd been held up for an hour and they got rid of them. I think, you know, I as you've heard, my views, I pretty much put the majority of the blame onto the actual police. I think that they should have dealt with and should have stepped up to the plate. When I look at the police and their tweets and whatever, all I can see them is they're posing for photos, which is great. You know, don't get me wrong, pose for the photos and join in with the parade and join in with the people. That is fine, absolutely get that. But ultimately, the police are there to do a job, not to have photos taken. And if there's a job to do, I feel that the job needs to be done. It wasn't. The Pride organisers needed backup, and they never got it. You know, not saying that the London Pride are totally blameless in it, which is something I will touch on later. But yeah, the police should have done it. Well, it's great to hear that it didn't affect your enjoyment of the day. That you've had another great time down there. How big was the flag? I believe it was Scottish trans people that organised the flag. How big was it?
All right. We worked with F2M London and Trans Pals. We worked with. We managed to get the Scottish Alliance down with their fantastic flag, which is all homemade, and it's 15 metres long. And all of them have had a brilliant, everyone carrying the flag, everything. And there was a total of 150 of us in our section.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh, that's really good to hear.
And I want to double it next year.
Yeah, well, you know, hopefully, as we alluded on when we spoke to Polly from London Pride, it falls on the same weekend that Sparkle has. They haven't released the figures obviously for this year because it's only just happened, but you know, tens of thousands of people, you know, attend Sparkle. It was you know, I was up there this weekend. I was doing a couple of DJ gigs, and it was just totally amazing. It was there was no room anywhere. So just to clarify on that, it's only the last 2 years it's clashed with Sparkle, and that was all due to Canada Day last year. And I gather there was something this year, they couldn't move it back, but I gather what I've heard, they are moving it back, but we have to watch this space and see. Yeah, let's watch this space, and I think if they are done on different weekends, then that will obviously will help with the attendance, possibly at both events, because I think there's a lot of people that would attend both events. You know, I personally would attend both events given the chance. So if they are separate weekends, I think for the community that will be amazing, because we'll be able to have greater presence at both events, which will obviously work for everybody. Yeah, and we'll be at another parade again this Saturday, so a Pride event in Croydon this Saturday for us again, so two parades in a row for us. Right, do you want to give that a quick plug, that the Croydon Pride that's going on? Yeah, you've got Croydon Pride this Saturday. It's at Wandle Park, starts at 12 till 10.
You've got then Asif, who will be presenting the main stage, who is a who's a drag queen who's trans. So we're getting it all down in South London. So get yourself down to Wandle Park this Saturday from 12.
There you go. Saturday, Croydon Pride down at Wandle Park in Croydon. So thank you so much for your time today, Patricia. Really great to talk to you. Look forward to speaking to you again, and hopefully we'll be able to link up at London Pride next year, if not before.
Yeah, will do.
Okay.
Take care now.
All right, all the best. Thanks for coming on.
Right.
Cheers now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There we go, Patricia from Trans Pals. Really good to have her online, and somebody that was there at the parade, and really good to hear that it didn't actually affect her experience at the parade. We've still got a few guests to come. We've still got Joanne Lockwood, who's going to be joining us, as is Kellie Maloney. We've also got Aimee Challenor, so we're probably going to, at this rate, run a little bit late, but we will keep going. We've got Aimee Challenor, who's the spokesperson for the Green Party, who's set up a petition that thousands of people have actually signed about the events on Saturday. To say Joanne Lockwood, Kellie Maloney, and we're also hopefully going to speak to Frank Williams. Frank's a trans man. He's written this absolutely amazing piece. I suggest you go onto his Facebook and have a read. I will be sharing it, or we will be sharing it a little bit later, so you can all have a read of that, which is really worth a listen. So stay tuned. After this tune, we'll be back with our next guest.
This is transradio.co.uk. Get social with us at Trans Radio UK on Twitter and Facebook. This is transradio.co.uk.
Just to break it up for you now, we've now got Aimee on the line now. Those of you that don't know Aimee Challenor, she works for the Green Party. She's the LGBT plus and spokesperson for the Green Party. Aimee has also set up a petition that was featured, I think, in the Daily Mirror recently about her thoughts about London Pride and the organisers, etc. And I'm pleased to say that Aimee has joined us today. So hi, Aimee.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. Yourself?
I'm not too bad.
Good. Well, thanks for joining us today. Obviously, we sort of touched base. We've seen your petition that you set up, and your thoughts on that. For the people that haven't, let's hear your thoughts. We all know what happened Saturday, so what are your thoughts on it?
Well, what happened Saturday was a horrific display of intolerance that really should have been acted on immediately by Pride in London organisers. Unfortunately now, we've seen that despite being warned 3 weeks earlier, they allowed the protest to go ahead, not only just in part of the parade, but leading it out the front. And not only have they just, despite their comments that they had to do it for safety, or they had no other choice, video has emerged today where Pride in London staff are telling the protesters that they appreciate them being there. So they have now allowed and appreciated an attack on very basic trans rights. So what we're doing is organising this open letter calling for a full and frank apology from Pride in London, as well as a change in the Pride in London board to ensure that a similar incident never happens again.
Okay, that's fine. Now there was the more I thought about it, as you possibly heard during the show, I'm kind of a little bit torn as to actually who I feel should have dealt with the people. Now, whilst I feel that the police should have acted and should have just nipped this in the bud before really it had even started. They shouldn't have been, as you're right, I'll make you right, that they should never have even been allowed to get where they got to. The footage shows that they got there easily. But there is just one thing. There's a London Pride person you'll see if people watch the footage. They're actually leading the parade, and they've got a green T-shirt on, and on the back of that green t-shirt says supervisor. Now you can see them, they're obviously heavily involved. They're one of the main people obviously on the committee. I don't know the person's name, but there's a little bit in there that really shocks me. I'm just going to play it for you. I've picked up the audio from the video, and I'm just going to play that audio for you now.
We don't mind you being here, we appreciate it, but maybe just advance a little bit, just so that it can gradually move on.
Okay, I'm going to just play that one more time, just for those that didn't hear it properly.
We don't mind you being here, we appreciate it, but maybe just advance a little bit, just so that it can gradually move on.
Okay, I'm not quite sure if you all heard that properly, but basically, this person saying, we don't mind you leading the parade, in fact we appreciate it. I mean, that person, for me, is culpable. That person is the one from London Pride that really needs to be sought out. I'm sure that the community or the trustees, etc., know exactly who that person is. So for me, that person from London Pride, I know that they was put in a position, etc. But then words that was said to the group, that was while they was lying down. Then how can they say they appreciate it? So, but I do believe that the police, and I keep reiterating this, should have acted more. But you kind of put a lot of the blame onto the London Pride Committee yourself.
So yes, the police should have acted, but ultimately they only could have acted once Pride in London were adamant that they wanted those protesters out of the parade because of the rules around trespass. Unfortunately, because Pride in London have effectively allowed and sided with these protesters, the police had very limited options to then act and remove the protesters.
Right. Well, I mean, I can see your views, and I think that they should have liaised. But I do believe that the police, they're there to uphold the law, and possibly London Pride. You're correct. Could have stated a bigger case to the police about getting them removed. I also feel that the police should have stepped up to the plate and taken control of the situation.
I think the other concern that we've not really addressed either here today or as a community in general is that Pride in London, in their statement they put out over the weekend, has said they were powerless to stop the protesters getting to the front of the parade. If they were so powerless, why do parade groups have to pay from £50 to into the hundreds for wristbands to participate? Why are we policing who and who is not able to take part in the parade when anyone who can be rejected is just going to be able to force themselves to the front of the parade, lie down, and then have Pride in London let them carry on and lead the parade? It's an abysmal of a Pride organisation. It's concerning about our community's security, and ultimately, in this case, it put some of the most at-risk members of our communities further at risk.
Yeah, no, I get your valid points there without a shadow of a doubt. And I did touch that on that earlier with Polly about people, that were not allowed or should not have been there, were allowed to be there. Kind of made a mockery of the actual system there. So, Aimee, just before you go, you have set up a petition. I think it is only right that we give people that option to go and look at that petition, see what you've got to say, and should they agree with it to sign it. So do you want to just tell us how they can do that?
Yeah, the open letter has already attracted over 2,000 signatures from people all around the world of many different backgrounds. And if you're interested in signing the open letter, calling for a full and frank apology from Pride in London, as well as changes to actually be made to avoid the repetition of this, then go on to Twitter and look at the hashtag #NoPrideInTransphobia, and a link to the open letter is available on that hashtag. It's on Google Drive, and there are instructions at the top of the letter on how to add your signature.
Okay, well there you go. Thank you very much for that. Everyone knows how to do it. So thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Aimee. I really do appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on and talking to us and giving across your point of view.
Thank you.
Okay, there we go. Aimee Challenor, who's obviously, as we mentioned, set up the petition about the guys and girls at London Pride. Stay with us. After this, we're going to be speaking to Joanne Lockwood. Now, Joanne, which many people in the community, I'm sure many of the listeners in today know, is the founder and CEO of See Change Happen. Used to be a trustee at Sparkle, run and organised many events, and we will be having Joanne on next.
Hit music.
Your radio, your station, playing hits 24 hours a day.
This is my station.
Transradio.co.uk. Tune in via transradio.co.uk. We are also on TuneIn and Alexa at Transradio UK.
A couple of guests left. Really looking forward to speaking to the next one. It's Joanne Lockwood. She is the CEO and the founder of See Change Happening. She's been involved in many companies and many organisations over the years. Lots of you will know her from Sparkle from last year, where she was one of the trustees. Now she's set up her own company, which is absolutely thriving, and we're really delighted to have her on with us today. So hi, Joanne.
Oh, hi Lucy, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, very well. Yourself?
Good. Yeah, brilliant. It's the sun's out and apparently football's coming home, so looking forward to that later as well.
It is indeed, yes, it is indeed. So yeah, hopefully we'll get a positive result tonight, and I have threatened that the radio station will play It's Coming Home on a loop for 12 hours should we win.
But they've done us proud so far, and I think Gareth has been an excellent manager and leader, and isn't it such a refreshing thing to see our team actually shining a light on the country? And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, they've done absolutely brilliant, and yeah, we'll keep absolutely everything crossed.
Yeah, it's all crossed. Yeah.
Right. So obviously we're having the show today, chatting about the events at London Pride on Saturday, which kind of from our community, I think, has overshadowed. What a wonderful celebration Pride should be. Presume you've heard about it, you've seen about it, and what have you not?
Yeah, it's so sad, isn't it? I mean, all of this positivity in the world and all the things, opportunity, but Twitter was just a blast with it on the day, and I thought, this is awful. Was it 8 people creating that much negativity? It's so sad, really, isn't it?
Yeah, no, as you just said, 8 people out of a million that were there.
20 or 30,000 in the parade, and all the people all over the world watching it. The flagship Pride in the UK. It's just so sad, really, so sad.
So what? Obviously, like everyone, I think you kind of were a little bit devastated about it. So, do you think police should have done anything? London Pride organisers, you've organised events yourself. What's your take on allowing them to actually lead the parade?
It's a tricky thing, isn't it? Because sometimes by putting stop to things, you can actually pour oxygen onto the fire and make it worse, and you create more, I suppose, profile. And I suppose there's a danger. I know. So when some people do this sort of thing, they are looking for that negative reaction. They're looking for someone to cause trouble. They're looking for the opportunity to get the video cameras out or take photographs or see people trying to move them away. So I understand that it's a very tricky, delicate thing for the organisers, for the police. And from what I understand, they weren't actually in the parade. They were just exercising their freedom of speech ahead of the parade, which is semantics, I know. And it's so frustrating that the whole focus of the front of the Pride Parade was about the NHS 70th, celebrating that and the wonderful work that doctors and nurses are doing. And then this is hijacking it with something that is just shouldn't be allowed or shouldn't be there on the day, really. Because that's not what Pride's about. Pride's about, yes, it's about protesting, it's about getting a message out. But we're such a community that need to support each other. The LGs, the B, the T, the Q, I's, the A's, the P's, the Q's, and every other identity out there. We have enough trouble in this world being accepted, let alone fighting and dividing ourselves. It's just so sad, really.
Yeah, no, it's they were, for me, they were in front of the parade. They was on the parade route. I mean, I've been chatting to people, Manchester Pride, obviously, Manchester well. That they've released a statement, which I will read out at the end of this show, and basically, if they have protesters there every year, and they move them to the side. They're on the side. That's where you're going to protest. That's fine. It's just the fact that these were allowed to go actually onto the route now.
Yeah.
You know yourself. Sparkles just finished its 14th year. Now I've been going for quite a few years there. I know people that have been going for pretty much since it started, year on year out. And one of the things that the protesters are talking about are they're worried about their spaces in the bathroom now. At Manchester, a nightclub in Milton Keynes, they're neutral gender toilets. Everyone shares cubicles now. You'll probably know the figures better than me, but I'm sure something like 20,000-30,000 people attend Sparkle. And have done.
I think over the weekend, I think it's 10 to 15,000 over the 2 days in Canal Street and surrounding bars, and then the park itself. Yeah, it's just a celebration of gender identity. Whether you're cis, whether you're trans, whether you're non-binary, whether you're gender fluid, it's just a place where you can be yourself, where you can hold hands in public, you can kiss people in public. You don't have to think about who you are, what you are, you just are. And that's what's wonderful about those organisations and Pride and Sparkles, is it allows people to just be free, and for the one weekend of their life they can just be themselves. It's such a magical experience,
which is great. And I think people should be able to go to London Pride, which they are. Lots of people went to London Pride, and but one of their things that they talked about, if you listen to their stuff that they're complaining and protesting about, I can't tell you. There's thousands of transgender people that will, share toilet facilities with cisgendered lesbians, cisgendered straight people, bi people, the whole and I cannot and do not know of one example where they can say, we go there for pee and to touch our makeup, just like everyone else.
I get it. I think a lot of this was born in the States, where traditionally in the cubicles in the States aren't full length. They tend to be 3/4 length with a foot gap underneath. And there's been a history of people in those sort of establishments doing things that aren't appropriate, whether it's got anything to do with trans or whatever. They're there. They're people who want to do inappropriate things. In the UK, most, if not all, of our toilets are floor to ceiling. People don't go around with cameras sticking them under doors or poke their head under there. But there's this sort of this myth has developed that trans people are predators. Predators are predators. Trans people are just people. We're probably more scared to go into a toilet than anybody else. The last thing I want to do is go into a loo just to sit and have a pee and then find that someone's getting upset with me. So my anxiety levels are there for the moment I open the door, and you're always worried, always concerned you're going to get a negative reaction. So to me, it's straight in, sit down, do what I need to do, wash my hands, I'm gone. I'm not looking to hang around, whether it's in Tesco's or in the pub. It's just get in, get out. It's a level of anxiety for me and many trans people that we're worried that we're going to get abuse when we're in there. So, and this kind of thing fuels that nervousness and that insecurity that we are going to be. We are going to be treated badly when we're confronted by people. No,
you make a very valid point. So I know, personal experience myself. I've gone into the ladies, and you're like, and we're generally the ones that feel uneasy because you feel,
we are.
Are people looking at me? Are people gonna,
Or you're sitting down in the cubicle doing your stuff, and you hear a group of people come in. You think, if I come out now, am I going to get funny look? Is people going to say something to me? If there's someone's obviously brought their child in, you think, oh God, what if I come out now and Mum's going to get a bit anxious if I'm here?
Yeah.
And it's all all these things go through our heads. We don't pee freely anymore. We have to second guess everything.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And all we want to do is have a pee. That's it. We don't. We're not bad people. We're not there to do anything else.
No, exactly, and the sooner they realise it and take that off their agenda.
But people have gender neutral toilets at home, don't they?
Well,
people
exactly.
It's like do you sort of like, are you worried about someone coming into your toilet at home? You know, you're having a party, people just use the toilet.
Yeah, no, you are so right. And as you know, the problem is that we as a community are with the radicals. I mean, they're known as TERFs.
People with strong opinions. People with strong opinions that differ. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've had this incident on Instagram, which. You know,
I saw some of the comments on the thing you posted, and
to be honest, I actually thought I was getting somewhere with her, and then no, absolutely getting nowhere. Just banging my head against a brick wall. So kind of lesson learnt there for me. Although I did, you know, have a little bit of fun, if you like. I was trying to humour the person. Perhaps that didn't work, but as I say, but at one point I actually thought we was getting somewhere, but no, we're not. So, you know, it is shy. You know, they kind of need educating, and but
yeah, I've come across people with strong opinions in a school environment where parents are worried about what their child's being educated. Are they being told that being trans is okay, therefore they want to become trans? So I get that people are worried about their kids and their protection, and they want to make sure they're educated correctly. But yeah, there's this myth that you can become trans because it's trendy. Well, actually, I don't know anyone that's trans because it's trendy.
No, not at all.
You wouldn't put your family, yourself, your whole life in this blend of mix it all up because it's a bit of a laugh or it's trendy. It is something deep inside of us all, and it's as much that cis people don't get trans people. I don't get it. What it's like to be cis. You know, I really don't get it. You know?
Yeah, no.
I've always been like this.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, yeah, nobody. You know, nobody would choose to be trans. That's something that I say to people.
Yeah.
You know, nobody would choose to be this. Right. So anyway, just slightly deviating off the subject.
Yes. Sorry.
Kind of relevant. Your company. So you're the CEO and founder of See Change Happen.
CEO is a bit of a grand title, you know. Founder and consultant, yeah. Why not? Big it up. Let's big it up. Yeah.
Use it if you can.
Keep fake it till I make it, I guess.
That's it. So you know, you got the See Change Happen where you're going out doing stuff. Do you want to tell us quickly about that? Because I'm sure.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. As you said, I founded this consultancy probably about a year ago. And my purpose really is to promote diversity and inclusion to businesses, organisations, whether that's schools, hospitals, companies, local government, not only to educate about helping and supporting trans staff, but also to recognise that how companies, businesses interact with their customers is also important. Because if you don't represent your community, you don't represent your customers, then you're not going to be relevant, and people aren't going to want to, buy from you, for want of a better way of putting it. And it's often companies have great diversity and inclusion policies, but very rarely do they push it right down to the shop floor, to the team leaders, the supervisors, and the message sometimes gets diluted, which means that certainly trans people have a variable experience working with some big organisations. One day you phone a call centre, you get treated with respect. Another day you phone, you get misgendered, you have people hang up on you. You fail ID verification because your voice doesn't align, whether that's a too deep a voice or too high a voice. And it's trying to put that human touch back into it. That's what I try and do. I try and provide an approachable, open, educating stance, non-confrontational. But yes, let's just challenge your biases and let's talk about it. That's kind of what I do in a nutshell.
Great work that you do, and long may it continue. So obviously, if there's anyone out there that's got companies that needs Joanne's work, you can find her. How do they find you? Do you want to give a quick
on the web? See Change Happen. So it's SEE Change Happen .co.uk. I'm on Facebook, Twitter. If you Google my name, Joanne Lockwood, you probably find a few hits on me where I've had a few run-ins with companies, and I've featured in the Sunday Times and the Daily Mail a couple of times. So you can find me online by my name or seechangehappen.co.uk.
Absolutely fabulous. Right, well, great to hear your views, Joanne. Really appreciate you taking the time to come out and speak to us today.
Anytime, Lucy, anytime, and it'd be great to catch up again soon.
Yeah, it'd be marvellous to catch up soon. I was just about to say exactly the same. So there we go. Thank you so much, Joanne. Speak to you soon.
All right, see you soon.
Take care.
Cheers, bye.
Cheers, bye-bye. There we go, Joanne Lockwood. Got some great views from See Change Happen. Joanne's a fabulous person, so if you do need her services, please look them up. We've still got a couple of guests still to come. We got Frank Williams, who's a trans man, written a fabulous piece that we are going to retweet a link to later, and also put on our Facebook. Great perspective. I mean, we as trans women is fully aware, the views on that, but the radical people that were on this march on Saturday did also mention what trans men, they had views about them. So we got a trans man who's written this fabulous piece. We're going to get him on very quickly, and then we are going to have a chat with the fabulous Kellie Maloney after. We're going to hear Kellie's views on everything that happened at the weekend, and see what Kellie has to say as well.
Join Bruce B. Hills, Monday, 7 p.m. The best way to start your week. Music, chat, and fitness tips here on Trans Radio. Call, message, or WhatsApp us on 07305 151189.
Just before we started the show today, I was sent a piece that somebody had written on their Facebook page. Haven't had time to read it all, but it's absolutely, what I did read and what I did see was absolutely fabulous. And I thought, I've just got to get this guy on. So we've had a little few messages, not really spoken much, but he thankfully agreed to come on. So I'd like to introduce Frank Williams. Hi, Frank.
Hi, Lucy. Thanks for inviting me on your show.
No, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, especially at such short notice and, alllastminute.com. But
you're welcome.
As I've just alluded to, you've written a piece today on your Facebook that people can see on your Facebook, or we're going to be, retweeting it or putting it on our Facebook as well. It's kind of about your experience and, as a trans man, because obviously these TERFs are not only attacking us, they're attacking the whole transgender spectrum. You've written a fabulous piece about it. If you can, give us a little chat and let us know about the piece that you've written and why you wrote it.
Well, I saw the banners and the leaflets that the TERFs were handing out at London Pride, and I noticed that they've referred to trans men as lesbians. So I decided that I'd try and sort of help the community to understand how the TERFs are hurting trans men as well, and just like how dangerous they are in general. So that's really why I decided to write the post. I think the main thing that I kind of wanted to get across is that TERFs use a different approach in their hate towards trans men. So overall, they use a more sort of overt violence towards trans women and use a covert violence towards trans men. And I think their overall aim is to groom us into their version of like a conversion therapy, which would uphold their belief that trans men are really just butch women like them, which obviously isn't the case, but that's what they like to believe. So in my post, I discuss some of the different tactics that these TERFs tend to use. So, for example, they will tend to ban trans women from women's spaces, but will invite trans men. And on the surface, that might sound like a nice thing to be invited to something, but underneath that, they're trying to coerce us back into womanhood. Now, obviously, that's detrimental to us, but they don't care. Similarly, they'll use public events like Pride to vilify trans women, but will use a more hidden approach to trans men. So, for example, they'll stalk us online. They take the transition photos that we post online and they put them on their websites to degrade us and to out us to employers. There's lots of different tactics that they use to sort of wear us down and try and send us back to a womanhood that we never really had. Overall, I think that their opinions about trans men and trans people in general go completely against our own lived experiences and against academic research and medical guidance, but they've made up their minds and they don't care. So, yeah, that's my view overall.
No, it's, as I say, you've written a great post that's really, really worth reading, and it was just had to get you on just to have a quick chat, just so you can sort of explain to people about, you know, from your point of view, because I thought from what I've seen, it was absolutely really fab, really well put. You've put lots of little bullet points where you've explained, you know, how it is, you know, from your side and from your view, if you like. So
yeah.
So what we'll do, we'll put that onto, as I say, our Facebook and our Twitter for everyone to have a look at. Really appreciate you coming along and taking the time to have a quick chat with us today. So thank you for that. And
well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, no, hopefully we can have a chat again and get you on again soon. That would be really good.
That would be great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on. Okay, cheers, Frank.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Take care,
Al.
Lucy.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, there we go, Frank. As I say, we will be posting what Frank has to say, because it was a really good piece and it's really worth taking the time to have a read. Will educate, I'm sure, everyone that actually has a read of it, and there'll be lots of trans men out there that can, you know, will agree with exactly what he has to say. Now, we did speak to Joanne Mason at Sparkle. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it on today. There is a piece on the Sparkle website about their events, basically where they're saying that the slogan was, you know, united in diversity. They asked Pride in London to address the seriousness of the incident and guarantee that trans and non-binary people will not be made to feel marginalised and excluded by its actions, events in future. They call on all prides to make sure that you know, they do not let this happen. Manchester Pride itself have released a statement saying, as always, no group or individual will be allowed to walk with the parade unless they have followed the application process and received the appropriate permission from our offices. In the event of any individual or group should attempt to infiltrate or impede upon any of our activities, they will swiftly be removed. Brighton Pride. Now, I've had a chat with Brighton Pride as well today, totally against everything that happened at the London Pride, and their statement states that they will take robust action against any hijacking of the Brighton's LGBTQ+ Pride Community Parade, and the safety of all their participants is paramount. Now, as I say, I will reiterate this. We have asked members of the Protestors to come and have a chat with me today. They have declined. We emailed their email address that was on the leaflets that they decided to try and hand out to people, hopefully all now being recycled into something a lot better. They have not replied, so yeah, we was going to give them a voice here today, have a chat with them, or try to have a chat with them. They've declined on that note, so you know, but in the interest of you know, a debate, we have tried to get all parties in. Next up, just after this, it will be the fabulous Kellie Maloney, who will give us her views on the events of Saturday. We are running a little bit over time, but yeah, stay with us. We are staying on, and we will be having a chat with Kellie straight after this.
This is transradio.co.uk.
Final guest of the afternoon, should I say? And then we can all go and start getting our preparations ready for the football tonight. Now, it's a real friend of the show. She's been on a few times. Always got some great points, some great views, and we love having her on. She does have her own radio show now on Radio Kent, so you know, we don't mind if you switch over to listen to Kellie when she's on Radio Kent, because she is a friend of the show. She's been absolutely fabulous to us, to help us get going when we first started. Is always willing to come on and have a chat about whenever we've asked her. She's always been, you know, giving us the time to come and have a chat. So hiya, Kellie, how are you?
Hello, I'm alright, thank you.
Good. Well, good to speak to you.
Enjoying the show and enjoying the sunshine, I should say.
Yes, no, well, yeah. I mean, luckily, in the UK, we're still bathing in our heat wave. Yeah, not quite Portugal, where I believe you're out at the moment. But yeah, no, we
I am. I'm trying to get barbecue ready for tonight's football, so I can sit and
enjoy the football.
Very nice, very nice. And how do you think we've done in the World Cup so far, and how do you think we'll do tonight?
Well, do you know what? They've on my sports show that I do with BBC Radio Kent, I did pick England to win from the start. Just a hunch, because Gareth Stephen has built a really good team. He hasn't got any celebrity superstars like we've always had, and the guys are all playing for each other, even the subs. And it reminds me of the Leicester team that won the Premiership a couple of years ago. He seems to have used the same format as that, and I think it's really worked.
Yeah, no, actually, I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, I mean, if Leicester can win the Premier League, then why can't we win the World Cup? And two games left. Hopefully, 2 games. We will have 2 more fixtures. Hopefully, one will be the final, not the 3rd and 4th place playoff.
Well, we hope we have one game tonight that we win, and then we get the French, and we beat the French. I mean, they were very well organised yesterday, and they seem to be played well. And it'll be interesting if we get there. I think we're a bit younger and fresher in Croatia, so that will be an advantage to us.
Yeah, well, we're all know in 3 hours, I think, exactly, it's 4 o'clock now, exactly 3 hours till kick-off. So,
3 hours to go, can't wait. I've got the barbecue and light.
Good stuff. Right, obviously, the reason for today's show is to have a little chat about the events that happened at London Pride on Saturday. Unfortunate events where the protesters got to the front of the parade. Just wanted to have a chat with you to see what your views were on it, if you felt that the police or if...
my views, I mean, I only read about it online and what I've seen, and I had a couple of people phone me up, and I'm a little bit put out by it, I suppose, and a little bit upset. Pride is supposed to be an event organised for the LGBT community, and you can't tell me the organisers didn't know anything. I know they put an apology out, but I didn't think the apology was great, and it didn't seem as sincere as possible. Because, I mean, they must have had security there, so how did these people break through? How were they allowed to get out of these flicks? And how were they allowed to lead, the procession? I mean, straight away you had security moving on them and close them down or surround them and just get them out of the way. I think it's a bad mark for the LGBT community, and I think this is my personal opinion, so, and it's not everyone, and I understand that. I'm a great believer we should stand alone. We should work alongside the LGBT community, but we should have our own stance. We have Pride, a trans Pride in Brighton, which I think is fantastic, and I was privileged to be one of the keynote speakers at the first trans Pride in Belfast this year. And, and then if the LGBT community want to turn up, they can turn up and support us. This is about getting the message across that this is about our gender, not our sexuality. And I don't want to be confused in that circle about your sexuality. When I choose my sexuality, if I have a relationship with a female, then I will put my hand up and say, yes, I'm a member of the LGBT community. If I have a relationship with a male, then I'm a member of the heterosexual community. And this is and it's very confusing, even to people, friends of mine. They always talk to me, they purely start talking about my sexuality, never my gender issue. And it really bugs me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'll make you right, yeah. I think you've had the debate yourself. We've mentioned it here about the tea being in, the community. I think this has possibly made it stronger. Personally, with the events, I think the support that we've had from the community after the protest has been marvellous. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I mean, listen, our community is very split, and I understand that. Some people need to be a member of a group that have a badge. Some people don't. Some people are very independent. I've done my first radio show when I started the BBC Radio Kent, which was only 4 weeks ago. It was Should the T be removed from the LGBT? And I've got to say, it was 60% in favour of removing the T. I was quite surprised. A lot of the trans community came out But I also found the trans community so split with the transgender issue and transsexuals. And I hold my hand up and say I'm learning more and more every day, because it's all, well, I know who I am and I know where I'm going and I know my life, but there's so many variations out there, and it's about understanding and learning. And I honestly hold my hand up and say I'm learning something every day about the transgender. Let's call it umbrella, because I think everything is under the umbrella.
Yeah, no, it's a good debate to have. That's for sure. So, moving back to the Pride, Kelly, what did you? You've mentioned that they shouldn't have got there. Would you say, on everything that you've heard, read, or seen, would you say it was the police, the Pride, or are they both as culpable as each other?
I think the organisers have got to look at themselves. The organisers have got to make a decision over next year's Pride, and I know if I was running a trans group, I would boycott that next year's just as a protest. Right. I would boycott it as a protest.
Okay, yeah,
and probably go to Sparkle, have a bigger show at Sparkle, or go to Brighton Trans Pride, or go to the one in Northern Ireland, because I think that's going to get bigger and bigger.
Right, yeah, I believe that you've been involved in a couple of the Trans Pride events that have gone on recently, and it's great to see that these new events are starting. Obviously, we do have Brighton Pride coming up very shortly as well. But yeah, no, very very interesting to hear your views and to hear what you got to say about the matter, which is why I was very keen to get you on as well. So
well, my views are not everyone else's views, so I understand that. And, so we all have our own views. But I'd love to hear more about it, and I'm happy to receive tweets or emails. My tweet is at Kellie Maloney, and it can help me. And I'm happy to do come on any show or do a show on the BBC Radio Kent regarding certain subjects if anyone has any ideas.
Yeah, there you go. So obviously go and follow Kelly if you do have any ideas. So tell us, you started your show a couple of weeks ago, which I've tuned into myself. How's that going? I believe you got another show.
Going very well. Yeah, I mean,
are you enjoying it?
As I say, on a Friday I do a lifestyle show, and on a Monday I do a sports show. So I'm enjoying the lifestyle show more because it's really. I mean, the other week we done that show on cancer, and there's some amazing women on there and amazing men. The positivity and how they were fighting. I mean, one poor young girl, a young mother, she has been told she's on borrowed time, but you would never know it. Her attitude toward life was fantastic, and I was amazed at it, and we've become friends since we've been on the show, and we chat every day, and her inspiration has given me so much courage myself, and I think, God, what I went through is nothing compared to what this woman is suffering.
Well, that's good. That's it's good that you've got that platform to do these kind of shows that you want to do, and it's obviously with the BBC, which is a fabulous organisation, and really good. So you've got a show this week, I believe. Do you want to?
We've got a show this week where we've got the Sun, we've got the Sunday Mirror, and we're just waiting for the Mail and a couple of other papers to come back. We've invited yourself along because I think it's very important, because you have a great platform for our community, and we're discussing the attitude of the British press towards the transgender, transsexual community.
Right, I'm sure that will be an amazing show. Looking forward to being part of that myself as well. So plans for today now: barbecue, couple of drinks, and hopefully watch the football.
If England lose, I'm going to throw myself in the pool and not surface for a while.
Right, well, make sure you show us an Instagram video of that. I hope you enjoy your barbecue and your beers. And finally, we'll leave it onto a positive note. What's your prediction for tonight for the football?
I think England win 2-0.
2-0, and then we'll be World Cup finalists and playing Sunday for the chance to win the World Cup.
That'd be great, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to leave the final word with you on the London Pride. Before I do have a statement I need to read out after. But as far as the guests go, yeah, your little word out to the protesters from somebody.
Well, I say to the protesters, get a life. Get a life. We're not going nowhere. We're here. We're part of the human race like you are. We respect most human beings. We'd like to respect you to behave properly, and all we ask for is you to respect us and accept us in our life. The majority of us would not have transitioned if there was a pill we could have taken. I, for one, wouldn't have, for what I lost. But we had no choice in the issue. So please, I'm not even going to say please to these people. Understand and respect us as human beings. If you don't respect us as anything else.
Fabulous. Right. I hope that I'm sure some of them are probably listening in. They know the show's going on because they were invited. As we mentioned, they declined to come on, so that's their choice. They had their chance to come. They didn't want to. But we've had a fabulous discussion for the last 2 and a bit hours about it, and really good to have you come popping along for a quick chat. And hope you enjoy your barbecue, enjoy the football tonight, and you don't end up diving into the pool.
Okay, thank you, Luke. Look forward to seeing you on Friday.
Yeah, I'll see you Friday. Okay, thanks, Kelly. Cheers now.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye. There we go. The last ones of our guests for today's Kellie Maloney. I did have a chat with Bruce. Unfortunately, Bruce Hills. Some of you will know Bruce. He does a show here on a Monday evening. He told us that he thinks the events at Pride were a disgrace and very poorly orchestrated, as these people were allowed to lead the parade in the first place. His view is that and always has been, that we should have stand-alone as T, and this conforms it. He has experienced transphobia on the gay scene, unfortunately, and he doesn't feel that they understand or relate to our struggle. Gender dysphoria is not the same as same-sex attraction. To ruin an event as a gay female that was meant to be inclusive is unacceptable, and these involved should be prosecuted, as should any hate crime. He's shocked and disappointed, but we will stand strong as a community, as always, against this behaviour. Agree with quite a lot that Bruce has to say there. The final word from me on this matter. We've wanted to put it to bed. I think we've had some fabulous guests on tonight, or this afternoon. I'd like to thank them all for their time in coming along to chat, give us their point of views. I think we've covered a lot of different point of views. I think London Pride, it was good to get them on to hear, from the horse's mouth what had happened there. Very disappointed with the police that they couldn't get anyone to come and have a chat, because would have liked to ask them some questions, as we alluded to with the Section 5, that they decided against it. And released a statement that, frankly, I don't agree with. I do. Obviously, the main thing is, if the protesters wasn't there, we wouldn't have been talking about it. So, to the protesters that went, if you are listening, you're not going to win. You have got a whole community of transgender people. 99.9% of the lesbians don't agree with what you got to say. I feel that you sprout a load of rubbish. I'm going to say that. A lot of lies, and if I was the police, I would have arrested you. Unfortunately, you was allowed to lead the parade. I think it shows that you didn't get a lot of support. I think you need to wind your neck in, stop what you're doing, realise this is 2018. Transgender people have always been about. The only difference is we're now more accepted, and we are really accepted than we were 40 years ago. Which is unfortunate, but that's how it is now, and it's great that it is now. I'm proud to be transgender. I'm proud of who I am. I've got some fabulous friends and allies of all genders, races and sexualities. You are not going to stop us. We're not going to go anywhere. We're not the threat that you think we are. Well, we're not. You know that. I know that. So please decease in what you're doing, because it's not very good, and you're just giving us airtime. In fact, when you go and do these things, we're getting more love from it. So, you know, the love's been great. We got a great community behind us, and we will be there, and we will be visible all the time. Every day we will be visible. We can't help being transgender. We don't choose to be. We are, just like you possibly, you know, can't help being lesbian. It's one of them things. It happens. You know, we are what we are. All of us. Let's live a happy life. Let's make Pride the celebration. If you want to have your events, go and do them on your own. Don't go and hijack the ones that are there for the community. I'm Lucy London. Hope you've enjoyed the chat this afternoon. If you have got any points, please put them on our Facebook page or on our Twitter page. If you would like to ever come on the show, you've got any points that you'd like to make, then please just get in contact with me. We'll find time to do it. Once again, finally, thanks to all the guests. Been totally amazing. I think it's been a great show. Very, very productive. We can put the matter to bed. Hopefully let the London Pride organisers get on and start organising next year's Pride, and I will see you all again soon. Thanks for tuning in.
Tune in via transradio.co.uk. We are also on TuneIn and Alexa at Trans Radio UK. This is transradio.co.uk.